This episode of Simple Civics, Greenville County, is made possible by Beth and Mike Andrews, Kelly Byers and Tom Wagner, Elizabeth and Grant Bogus. We thank them for their support and for connecting you, our listeners, with candidates so you'll be informed voters this primary season. You can give to Simple Civics too. Just visit our website at simplecivicsgreenvillecounty.org. On Tuesday, June 9th, South Carolina holds its statewide primary elections. I'm Katie Smith with Greater Good Greenville, and over the next several weeks, we are pleased to bring you interviews with most of the candidates in contested races that are in Greenville County. Today, we feature candidates for the Republican primary for Greenville County Council District 26, which generally covers southern Greenville County. Whichever candidate wins in June will essentially be the new county council member, as they have no opposition from another party's candidate in November. But first, a quick primer on why primaries are so important. The statewide primaries are when political parties choose their candidates to be on the ballot in the general election on November 3rd. This primary on June 9th will be for important offices like State House of Representatives, Governor, State Superintendent of Education, Congress, and one of our U.S. Senate seats, and our Greenville County Council. Some of these primary races will determine the winner in November because no one from a different party has filed to run, meaning that practically speaking, the June 9th primary is the election. In South Carolina, we don't register to vote by party, and all primaries are open, meaning you're free to vote in either the Republican or Democratic primary ballot. Of course, there are other parties, but they don't have a primary in our state. We did an episode that explains how all this works, and we'll link it in the show notes for you. If you want to see which district you live in and who will be on your ballot, you can check out the links on the episode page for a sample ballot from the South Carolina Election Commission. All of the details on how these interviews worked are at the end of the episode and in the show notes. But in short, know that each candidate had the same 3 questions and 10 timed minutes to respond. To find links to each candidate's campaign information, please check the show notes. Today, we feature candidates for the Republican primary for Greenville County Council District 26, Rick Bradley and Daniel Rumfelt. First up, alphabetically, is Rick Bradley. I'm pleased to be here with Rick Bradley, who is running for re-election for County Council District 26. Rick, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, tell us about yourself and why you're running for re-election.
Well, again, my name is Rick Bradley, running for re-election District 26. That's where I've lived for 45 years. That's where I shop. That's where we buy groceries. That's where my children grandchildren now go to school. I've been serving for 4 years, and these 4 years, at the beginning, it was a fire hose. Now it's got down to a garden hose, and there's just a lot of stuff that we hadn't finished that I want to complete. I'm still, as I started, I'm still the devout Christian. God, Jesus is the foremost in my life. I put that first. I put family in church, family second. So this is my third obligation. So it's pretty high up on the list. I think with my experience in business for 35 years, I ran my own business. I have I didn't think I had the ability to do this, but in the last 4 years, I have learned so much. And at this time, I'm serving as vice chair of the council. I'm the chairman of the Planning and Development, vice chair of the Infrastructure and Roads Committee. I serve on a couple of the boards, the GADC and the GPAC. So I know how it works now. I like to take the next 4 years and take the experience I have and learned in these 4 years and use them for the good of District 26.
Thank you. What do you believe are the biggest issues facing your constituents?
We have 2. Growth. We all know that that's coming. We can't stop it, but we have began doing a better management job with the council we have now. And I would love to continue to be part of that council. Density, we can manage density. We have tools in our toolbox to do that. We have zoning, we have the comp plan, we have those 2 ordinances, and the state. We have a comp plan. Our comp plan dictates what we can do and what we can't do. So our LDRs by state law must match what we're doing. That we are working on, and we will soon have a meeting with state officials to make sure that we are following the guidelines. If there's something we're missing, if there's something else we can do, if there's other avenues we can have to protect our folks in 26. As you know, 26 is a lot of country, a lot of zoning is not there, so we have to have these things in place to protect that. Also, the other issue is our infrastructure. We have recently put in 20, 30. We have $34 million that we didn't have to fix our roads. If you look in District 26, there are several roads being paved. We have 6 to 8 miles that's going to be paved this year. If the cost of pavement doesn't go up with the gasoline going up, but we have 6 to 8 miles to be paved. We've not paved that many roads in District 26 in I don't know when. So that's happening. So we are addressing those issues, and we have other ways that I'm working on. We have some ordinances in the committees. We have some ordinance in council that we're trying to get through to help the infrastructure and the density issue.
Thank you. What would be your priorities if elected?
Again, the two, infrastructure and the density, growth is going to come. We have a couple ordinances that we are looking at. It's been through attorneys, our county attorneys, and now with staff. Staff gets through them. We'll go through planning commission, and then hopefully P&D, planning and development, and then council. The other one is we're working on. We have put a moratorium on clusters. I've been working on that with staff, planning commission, and developers, trying to get a ordinance together where we can have a cluster ordinance. And basically what we're trying to do is put growth where infrastructure is. Not changing the density, but trying to keep open space. The houses may be a little closer together, but if that's what the market calls for. But we'll leaving our trees, leaving our dirt, making communities instead of subdivisions, putting them where the infrastructure and the roads dictate to go, where we have the schools. That's what the cluster ordinance will help us do. Not only that, if you build a house that's closer together on smaller lots, less roads, less storm drain, less cost. So it does help with affordability of the homes. So it has a crazy amount of ideas it has that this makes things better. And Greenville County, our tree cover is low because we cut them down when they build a subdivision. And I understand that. So we can make it cheaper for the builder, cheaper for the developer. It should be cheaper for our builders, for our constituents. So that's working on that. Working on revising an old ordinance where it gives a little discretion for the planning commission when it makes sense to. So those are the two big boys coming out. And then, when we're looking at concurrency, I had a couple other councilmen bring that and it's being studied by the staff, which is another whole issue we can help with: development, density, infrastructure, schools, the roads, all that. So we are working on it, and I would love to say the next 4 years to see that happens.
Thank you. We have a little bit more time. Is there anything else you'd like to share with listeners?
It's been an experience to learn how county government works. There's a lot of good folks in Greenville County. I'm gonna throw my Councilman Chairman Blunt. He and I have become good friends. He works for the people. I want to continue to work with Mr. Blunt, Chairman Blunt. I want to reach out to the folks like I have been and get. I never wanted to be a politician. I want to be a representative, and I think I've done that in the last 4 years. Anything that comes up, I reach out to the citizens and try to get what their thoughts are. Sometimes it's hard to discern which is what they want. It's 50-50, or, when it's really close, and I have to make that decision. But for the most part, the citizens are on the same side, and I can reach out to, no, they 50,000. I can't reach out to 50,000, but I can reach out to 25, 30, and try to get the idea. And if it's a subdivision that folks don't want, and they reach out to me, we have stopped them. We have stopped several. The ones we haven't stopped, we have cut the density down to match what's surrounding. Because we live in a place that we live now. We chose to live there. We shouldn't have the county, state, or the federal government dictates our daily routine. If I buy a house in the country, I should be able to I'm paying a 30-year loan on my home. I should be able to enjoy that in my lifetime. That's not saying people can't move around, but we shouldn't change the density so much that it changes my lifestyle. I should have some say so. And I also believe that, it's a fine home to watch because you got property owner rights. And I'm a property owner and I believe in property rights. But we also have the constituents, the citizens that live side by side, and they should have some say so. So it's a balancing act. And I think this county council we have now is doing a great job. And I would like 4 more years. Uh, 4 more years, I'm definitely a two-termer. 2 terms is enough for anybody. If I can't finish it in 2 terms, bad on me. It's time to step aside. But, I worked hard. I like what I'm doing. I like helping. You get to help a lot of folks. You get to do a lot of different things. So I do get some enjoyment from this.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for your willingness to continue to serve.
Thank you very much. Hope your District 26 stick with Rick.
Next up is Daniel Rumfelt. I'm pleased to be joined by Daniel Rumfelt, who's a candidate for Greenville County Council District 26. Thanks for being here, Daniel.
Thank you, Katie, for having me.
Great. Well, tell us about yourself and why you're running for this office.
Well, Katie, I am a natural born upstate. I was born here and grew up in the area of South Greenville and Northern Lawrence. My wife and I, met at our first job at Subway, and ever since then, I've really been involved in the community. And since then, I've settled down with two boys and one girl, and they go to local schools in the area in South Greenville. And and pretty much why I'm running is as a activist in the area. I really see the need for a lot of changes in our area and a lot of corrections to a lot of misinformation out there. And I'm the guy that's going to be honest with you to start with, and what we have on the books is actually how I want to present everything. And I'm running just to be your voice on council. I'm running to be a way to help your neighbors. That's what I would like to do. And you know, but yeah.
Right. What do you believe are the biggest issues facing constituents?
Well, Katie, I have door knocked in South Greenville up with 1,700 doors to this date, and I hear a lot. You hear a lot of infrastructure issues with the roads, and I'm not going to go that route because everybody goes that route. Everybody has the same complaints, but one of the complaints that a lot of people don't hear about is property tax. A lot of folks are struggling right now to pay bills with high inflation going on across the area with utility bills. And I hear it in every day that folks are paying too much for utility bills. And as a county, as someone that would represent the county, you should do what you can in your part and ease that pain for those people that have to pay the property taxes. And if I'm elected council, I definitely will work on making a fair tax system. We have so many folks in our area that is not contributing to our infrastructure or contributing to our public services. And there's a way that we can legally do this to make everyone pay taxes the right way. Greenville County should not be the only county that accepts 71% of its property taxes as its revenue. I really believe we could get that number down by 20% by implementing a fair tax. I really feel like Greenville County is big enough to go more towards a consumption system of revenue for Greenville County and kind of give those relief to those folks that need it. The older folks and the folks that really are struggling right now between bread and prescription medication, and property tax is the last thing you want to have to worry about. And there's ways in the state that we can do that. And definitely that was my primary goal running, is to cut and alleviate some of the property taxes.
Thank you. What would be your priorities if elected?
Well, Katie, as I just got done talking, public service is definitely a need. We are struggling with a few services, SPDs. Right now, there's a study going on about trying to combine all the fire districts, and totally against that. I mean, I feel like we're going to lose our local voice in how our fire districts run. You know, folks in Taylor's have got the best ISO ratings in the whole county versus folks down in the lower part of the rural area where you don't have that much water access and water lines. So the ISOs are a little, higher up through there. So in essence, I see a tax increase for many folks if we go to a one district fire across the whole county, and I'm not for that. And a lot of issues will be recruiting. I feel like recruiting will be an issue for that. And, after that, public service, when you gotta help our sheriff's office, give them the supplies they need. And on top of that, infrastructure, we gotta work on getting more funds for infrastructure, the fair tax way, more of a consumption system for that. And really just being focused and dedicated to helping the folks, a little bit more money in their pocket goes a long way, and but yeah, but that would be my primary focus, and actually being more, cutting taxes, cutting property taxes, because I really believe Greenville, like I said earlier, is large enough to go into a consumption system. Greenville County has, over $40 billion GDP yearly, so that's really hard to find in the Southeast, especially South Carolina, that can actually sustain a separate, revenue stream for, county operations, and that's something that we need to really look into.
Thank you. We have a little bit more time. Is there anything else you'd like to share with listeners?
Yes, ma'am. I'm just a regular guy, Katie. I mean, I'm the guy that, lives next door to you. When I go to the gym, I typically don't listen to music. I typically listen to subcommittee hearings in Columbia or hearings on YouTube for the local offices. And, I like to stay informed, and I think it's important that folks stay informed with what's going on around them when it comes to your government. And I'm that guy, I work third shift. I have plenty of time during the day to talk to many people. As I said earlier, 1,700 homes to date, with around 56% of actually making contact with those homes. So I hear what folks are saying, and they like hearing people to listen to them, and that's it. And like I said, I'm just that guy, family guy that, really wants his best, wants his kids to stay around, when they get older. I want them to be able to afford a home in Greenville. I don't want them moving away to where I don't see them. I want them to be able to afford, to live in the area and get good jobs, good paying jobs, good wages around here. And with our GDP as high as it is, I really feel like that we are I guess, a guiding light for many industries to come to Greenville to bring good paying jobs so we can keep our family members close to home whenever they get older. And that's my goal is really to protect the rural areas too. And, I've never been a fan of blanket zoning entire counties. I don't believe zoning an entire county is gonna help control growth. I mean, you can see what they did in Charleston County. Charleston County did that, the whole county. They tried to control growth that way, but you see what happened there. So zoning in the whole county is not the solution to this. And for good development, smart growth that we need in this area, this needs good growth is our LDRs. We need to focus on our LDRs, and we got our 10-year comprehensive plan coming up. And I want to talk to your listeners right now that it is important on this election coming up in June and in November that we put people in spots that they know how to get the job done. They know what they're talking about. They come prepared to meetings. They know exactly what's going to happen 10 years from now. They're getting the 40,000 square foot, 40,000, foot view of what's going to happen. And I like to be that guy in South Greenville. I like to be the guy that's going to plan the next growth for the next 10 years for South Greenville to actually hear the people, to gather the people together in different meetings and stuff, and actually start hearing the people where they want commercial, where they want industry to go at, and where do they want residential. Let's set out LGRs to kind of protect our way of living in the southern part of the county. And, in the northern part of the county, they also have a great, scenic way, scenic views of the mountains. I love going through Highway 25 on our way up to Pigeon Forge and seeing all the wonderful views, and I want to save that. So I ask you, and your listeners, to give me your support, give me your vote on June 9th this year, and in the Republican primary. And I'm open. I'm always available. Call, text, email, and I'll get back to you whenever I can.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for your willingness to serve.
Thank you, Katie.
Thanks for listening to the candidates. Here is more detail on our process. All candidates received the same 3 questions at the time of their invitation to join us shortly after the filing period closed, and they were given 10 timed minutes for their interview. Candidates were allowed to bring along a companion, such as a campaign manager, family member, or friend, and to record our session themselves. There were no edits made to the interviews. We've put links to the participating candidates' preferred internet presence on the episode page.
Hi, Simple Civics Greenville County listeners, Nathaniel here. If you've made it this far, then we think you'll really love our newsletter. Sign up for bonus content, updates, and more right in your inbox. Look for the link in the description that says newsletter to sign up, or visit us at simplecivicsgreenvillecounty.org. Find the link in the menu that says newsletter and sign up there. We'll see you again next week.